Welcome to At the Bunker. I'm your host, John Strickland, and I'd like to share with you beginning in the Gospel of John. But first I want to read just a couple of verses from the beginning of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, and God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. That was Genesis 1, verses 1 and 2. Now I want to go to the Gospel of John, starting in chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. In Him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Notice the interesting contrast. Let there be light. In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. Christ was God, is God, created the world with His Father, with His Spirit, and is God, and came, dwelt among us, and we beheld His glory. He came into His own, and His own received Him not. But to as many as received Him, to them gave He power to become the sons of God, that believe on His name. So we have sinned. If we continue to read in Genesis, we see how man chose to violate the simplest requirements of God. Don't eat from this one tree. I've created an entire garden for you that's filled with verdure and beauty and everything you could possibly want to eat. Don't eat from this one tree. Why? It's a test of loyalty. I want to see if you're willing to obey me in this one small thing. I didn't make it hard, just one small thing. So our first parents were deceived into believing that it would be better to distrust God, to rebel, to eat from that one small tree than to remain faithful. And they opened the floodgates that have brought onto the earth woe and misery for 6,000 years. But when the fullness of time was come, God sent His Son in the likeness of sinful man to redeem us. Why? Because He loves us. He is self-existent, all-powerful. He created us. We rebelled against Him. It brought this devastation upon us, this wickedness that is sin, that's just mired us with pain and misery and destruction for the entire history of the earth from the fall. But instead of destroying us, wiping us from the face of the earth, recreating the earth, trying again, no, God loved us and loves us still. He sent His Son to become one of us. What near infinite condescension. And then not just to be one of us, one with us, but to die, and not just any death, but the death on the cross. Just not only painful and long and drawn out, but also the death of the vilest criminal. He was killed for us. He suffered what we deserved, that we can receive what He deserves. He loves us, and He's revealing Himself to us. So the book of John begins by saying Jesus Christ is God, is the Son of God, is the light of the world, and no man cometh unto the Father but by Him. So as we continue to read through John, we can see some more of how the disciple John, the one who lived the longest, who also wrote Revelation, also the books 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, which I'd also like to read, he expressed in that book how God loves us and how He gave of Himself so much that we might be with Him. All right, that's what I have to share with you today. I hope it hasn't been too long. I hope it's been interesting. And I hope that we can continue to share these times together and that it will be an ongoing benefit. Thank you for joining me.